manufacturers may be boycotting tonight?
I couldn't care less, honestly. All I do is run the country well. The economic numbers, you saw them today, they're setting records. We took $88 billion in tariffs in 2 months, far beyond what anybody expected. There's no inflation. People are happy. People are wealthy. The country is getting back to strength again. That's what I care about. And we're going to have a safe country. We're not going to have what would have happened in Los Angeles. Remember, if I wasn't there, if I didn't act quickly on that, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground right now. Thank you.
Be leaders ourselves.
Black women are being used by the Democrat Party.
All of these socioeconomic indicators are in the negative, particularly for Black people.
They want mob rule. When Trump was in office, please somebody tell me what act of dictatorship did he perform?
She had Donald Trump's hair on top of her head. And she's sitting here talking about brown girl this, brown girl that.
Because she's a Black woman.
They would ask her how to spell her first name and clap like sea monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ, and it's just KJ, me, and Nicole tonight.
Hey,
yes, indeed. Shelly is out, but she will be back on Monday. So you got us here to the hard way.
there you go.
Yes, indeed. All right. So before we light this fire, do your part. Tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We are live here on YouTube and Rumble. And if you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We already have a super chat tonight. I believe it was Kung Fu CJ. Let me see here. Yep. Yes, indeed. All right. Says, okay, ladies, it's time to shine. Hello, my Pop and Politics family. Well, hello to you too, Kung Fu CJ. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. And that is the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation and to show your support for conservative content. Folks, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, Nicole, let's set it off. So much to get to tonight.
Yes,
at the top of the show, we showed that is just 30 minutes ago, President Trump at the Kennedy Center. And he's basically saying, I don't care if these leftists are boycotting us. We're still pushing on. Right, Nicole?
Absolutely. The Kennedy Center is so popular now. It is so hard to get a ticket to anything now. Maybe 2 years ago, you could get a ticket for $35, almost everything they had, but not no more. You better know somebody who's got a box and be real friendly, and hopefully they'll let you sit, at the end of their row or something like that. But it is really interesting how quickly it has changed. Almost overnight, it's become like a hot ticket in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. And as my mom used to say, don't know one monkey stop this show. Okay. And so, you had these leftists, they pitched a fit about President Trump saying that we were going to use the Kennedy Center as it was intended to celebrate the arts, not for drag queens to push gender ideology and LGBTQ trans crap on kids, which is what they were doing. This is supposed to be a place to celebrate the arts. And I am one that loves the arts. I love the plays. I love going to Broadway when I can. I haven't been in a while, but I applaud him for taking a stand.
I do too. But the Kennedy Center has much more than just like dramatic plays. They have music of all sorts. I'm a big fan of go-go music, and you can go see Rare Essence there. You can see Backyard there. It is really dedicated to the culture of America, right? So there's a little bit of everything for everybody, and it belongs to all of us. So I think it's a good look that President Trump has kind of taken a little bit of the politics out of this American cultural icon.
Absolutely. I 100% agree right with you right there, Nicole. And so let's get right into it. So he as he said at the top of the show, he sent in the National Guard to LA to tamp down the violence that we saw over the last several days. But of course, we have the left saying that there was no violence. These were peaceful protests. Well, that goes smack into contrary to Mayor Bass today. So again, Los Angeles is literally in shambles, and not because of a natural disaster. After ICE arrested dozens of illegals, left-wing protesters torched the city, looted major retailers, and vandalized police headquarters, federal buildings, and even city benches. Now, Mayor Karen Bass is begging the community to help clean up this mess, warning that the damage is so widespread, it will take a citywide effort to repair it just 1 year before LA hosts the World Cup. Take a look at her begging. This is clip 1.
Especially of the graffiti that is just blanketing a number of blocks, has been extensive. We are 1 year away from the World Cup. This is about beautifying our city and bringing our city together. And so I am calling on business leaders, community leaders, faith leaders to come together downtown in the next few days to talk about how we are going to clean up the city. Obviously, city workers are already out there removing the graffiti, but this is so extensive, it's going to take community-wide involvement. We had launched a program called Shine LA a couple of months ago in preparation for the World Cup, and now we are called on to direct that citywide. We need people from all over the city to come to downtown and to help with this effort.
So Nicole, one hand you have her in press conferences or news interviews saying these were peaceful protests. There was no violence. Now she's saying she's begging the community to come together and clean up their mess. So which one is it?
Listen, she can't have it both ways, but one thing she can do that I'm going to give her huge props to is the guy who's doing the American Sign Language next to her. He's the most interesting thing that happened in that whole press conference because his emotions were right there, right? If she really had any love for this city, she would have said, listen, we didn't make the call, but they're here. Let's, calm down. Everybody take a breath, take a beat. We got some beautiful things coming to LA. We've got the World Cup. We've got the Olympics coming. We have so much to look forward to. Can we just press forward as a community? Clean up everything we've torn up and press forward as a community. She just doesn't have that card. I don't think her politics allows her to see that community beyond her own grab for power. It's unfortunate.
It really is. I mean, it makes no sense what they're doing. And thank God that the voters and the community see that they're lying, as we've been showing these images of violence throughout the last several days. And I think people are starting to see that this is something going on here. And our eyes in the world can see that the left has totally gone too far with these protests. They're no longer protests, they're riots. And now they're spreading. So we saw them in LA, of course. Now we have them in Chicago, Philly, Baltimore, New York City. And speaking of New York City, this one here is crazy. So this is one where these two liberal protesters are blocking traffic during an immigration protest and laughing in the face of a Black working mother who begged them to let her through. Take a look here. This is clip 2.
But I have a kid. If I don't, and these people are having their children taken and they're playing. What about my kids? I need to get a job. Look at this. Then what happens to my kids? I can't help you. But you can if you could just move out the way. You're not going to. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to do? No, it's not.
How do y'all as white people feel about stopping a Black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping Black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
Okay, this is what happens when woke ideology collides with real life. The very people these leftists claim to stand for, hardworking Black Americans, are dismissed, mocked, and sacrificed at the altar of virtue signaling. That was a mess, Nicole.
That was absolutely a mess. But you know what's interesting politically about that is here is what the left used to hold up as the Holy Grail, a Black woman who's telling them, listen, you guys are in my way. I'm trying to get out here and be great, but you're standing in my way. And they're looking at her like, honey, it's not you anymore. We've moved on from you. And now it's all about the illegal aliens. So you're just going to have to suffer. This is the new Democrat Party. All of this funded by the DNC. This is what Black women who put everything they had into this party can look forward to. They've been demoted. They've absolutely been demoted. Because 4 years ago, they would have let her through, you know, like she was the Queen of England. They would have fanned her on through and wished her a happy day and all of that. Not no more. Welcome to 2025.
Yeah. In today's liberal hierarchy, illegals take priority over Black citizens. And this is exactly why they want to try to create ways for them to vote. They want another class of people that they can manipulate, that they can, you know, throw out handouts. We saw them giving them all these social services and things like that. They have a new class. So no longer these Black folks voting 90% Democrat. You see what they're doing. It's not about justice. It's a performative activism that leaves y'all behind. Absolutely. So this is what we're talking about.
This is what we're talking about. We've been warning them for years. We told them that they were overplaying their hand on this very show last year. And no one can ever be as great as we pretend to be. Well, guess what? Jose and Hector and them are now the guys who are running point. Now what? Now where are you? Now that all of you vote Democrat blindly, they don't have to do anything to win your vote. They don't have to do anything to secure your voice when there's an argument. You've overplayed your hand, and now you have nothing. What do you have? You can't even.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, this is the ugly truth about progressive activism. It's never about helping people as they claim. It's about control. It's about control. And how can they manipulate? How can they use you to continue to push them in power? We have some super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. Certainly appreciate you. All right. Tijuana Butter Jumper with a $5 super chat says, this is not surprising. Biden said that the Blacks need to get along with the Hispanic population. Okay.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Jackie with the $5 super sticker. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. All right. Let me see here. Oh, Portland Beautiful with the $10 super chat says, thank you, my rational friends. Thank you
so much, Portland. Thank you.
Yes. JT Thompson with the $10 super chat says, well, there's nothing new about them. They never really cared about the people they claim to care about, but they talked a good game. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. You are right, JT.
So right on here, JT.
Yes. Yep. And where's the media on this? You know, they're not covering these stories. They're trying to find the stories of these nuts that push the idea that they want these illegals, criminal illegals out here, and they want people advocating for them. What you see among the celebrity class and the elite who don't have to deal with crime and assault and sexual assault and human trafficking and things like that in their gated communities. But they're not talking about those stories. But guess what? Eric Adams is. So Eric Adams was recently interviewed by, I believe it was CNN.
Yep.
And they got a reality check from their own team. So it looks like Boris Sanchez tried to corner Mayor Eric Adams over alleged collaboration with ICE. And Adams dropped the script and exposed the left's hypocrisy. Take a look. This is clip 10.
Mayor, I want to ask you about the city council pushing for an investigation into whether the NYPD has shared sealed records with ICE, what could be a violation of local law. Can you confirm whether the NYPD or any other local agency is collaborating with federal immigration enforcement?
We've made it clear over and over again that we will not collaborate with any agencies when it comes to civil enforcement. The law does not allow us to do that. But we will collaborate when it comes down to criminal enforcement. And it's unfortunate that the city council chooses to use their power to find out if there's any collaboration instead of really advocating for going after those who commit serious crimes, acts of violence, not only on New Yorkers, but also on migrants and asylum seekers, forcing women into prostitution, selling drugs, shooting at police officers, assaulting individuals. Our focus should be on protecting innocent New Yorkers. We're not collaborating with anyone when it comes down to civil enforcement. But I said this before and I'm saying it again. ICE is not a criminal organization. It's a federal law enforcement organization like our other federal partners, and we will use them to protect innocent people in this city.
Ha! All right.
That last sentence, girl, that last sentence was everything. You know, I think he's trying to kind of moderate what he's saying. Do you know what I mean? Like he realizes that the city council is definitely deep blue, and he really doesn't have a really good working relationship with them since January.
Right.
But I think he said what New Yorkers want to hear. We're going to protect this population. Criminal people, listen, your time is up. It is time up. You all need to go head on to Boston where they don't care. Because here in New York, we're going to collaborate. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
So do I. He flipped the narrative. He refused to play defense and instead called out the city's political theater. And this is what we're talking about. This is he totally said it correctly. He is worried about his citizens. You know, these people, these criminal illegals, like he mentioned, where are 300,000 children, missing children who were trafficked over the border. Even their own Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, we found out was a human trafficker. He was as they said in the video, that cop said, hauling asses, right? Remember what he said? I mean, it's not funny, but
it's hilarious. It's funny, but you know, it still burns me up that they refer to him as a Maryland man. You know, that's such a disservice to all of the people, men, most especially, who live here in the great state of Maryland, but people who came here illegally, people who waited in line, paid their money, did everything that the U.S. government asked them to do, and they've earned their spot here. You know, and then you have someone come along who's lying, cheating, beating his wife, you know, human traffic, everything that he could do in this nation, he did. And now suddenly he's the epitome of Maryland. He's the quote unquote Maryland man. That is so absolutely disgusting. Absolutely
it is
disgusting.
Yeah. And I liked how Mayor Adams said ICE is not a criminal organization. Okay. It's not as the left has been saying, the Nazi police. You know, it's not. It is a federal organization, a federal agency like the rest. And they are protecting innocent people, especially from violent crimes. So this is what it is. And I'm so happy he said that. I am so happy because we need someone on the left, but also an actual mayor of a city to call them out for this stuff. ICE is there to stop human trafficking, drug dealing, assaults, and attacks on police officers. And this is why it behooves these mayors and actually governors to work with them, not against them.
Absolutely. I mean, actually, they're coming in to help. They are boots on the ground, quite literally, the kind of help that they need, because this is freeing up their local and state police to do other kinds of policing, right? ICE comes in, handcuffs the child molesters and all the SAs and all those guys, pick them up and get them out of the country. It doesn't cost your law enforcement organizations a dime for ICE to come and do that. It's a win-win-win situation all the way around. But, you know, the Democrats needed a rally cry, And this is the hill they've decided to die on. And I just, for the life of me politically, I don't see how they're doing this. I don't know who took a look at the playbook and said, okay, this is the thing that we want to do. It is so contrary to the American culture, to what Americans hold dear. Nothing says that they don't believe in this country like them applauding a Mexican national burning a police car, standing on top of it, waving a Mexican flag. Are you serious? Political suicide.
It is.
Suicide.
And like you said, it's the hill that they have decided to die on. And guess what? They are dead and stinking, because a poll came out today from CNN of all places. Right. And it's showing that legal immigrants are shifting to Republicans. Take a look at this clip. It's clip 3.
Start off on the fact that immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats, get this, held a 32-point lead on this issue. Immigrant voters were in the Democratic camp. Jump forward to 2024, 2025. Look at that shift, a 40-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points over Democrats, more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were in fact immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
So that's on that issue. How about how they feel about kind of traditionally, historically, about Donald Trump?
Yeah, so, you see this shift and you go, what is going on underneath the hood? Well, take a look, Donald Trump. You remember when he first ran back in 2016, immigrant voters were one of his weakest spots. But look at this, Trump's vote share in presidential elections among, again, immigrant citizens, those who are registered to vote. Look at this. In 2016, he got 36% of the vote. You go to 2020, 39% of the vote. Look at this, in 2024, all the way up to 47% of the vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely losing that vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely winning that vote. Again, there is no block of voters that shifted more to the right from 2020 to 2024 than immigrant voters. And Donald Trump, at least in some surveys, actually won that vote. On average, it's about equal.
Wow. Okay. So, the left thought immigrant voters were theirs forever. And they were wrong.
That they were their new black population. This was going to be their voting block, because wouldn't it make sense for people who paid and because it's not free, paid a lot of money, waited in line, and finally got to this nation? They probably agree with illegal immigration, right? No, they don't. No, they don't. You're talking about people who had to save a lot of money, and not just for one thing. I mean, per person, these are per person fees. And it is ridiculous to me that they made that jump, but it's okay. Because listen, I can use another 24 years of Republican rule in this nation. We get this thing straightened out and live some decent lives. It would be a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We got some super chats here, folks. Thank you all so much. Let's see here. Josh, what's up, Josh? Says, we need Pop in Politics Maryland man shirts and hats with the Maryland flag, some crabs, etc. I bet everyone would be asking how to get one. Marylanders are so pissed about it. Thank you so much, Josh, for your $20 super chat. We're working on it. We're going to get those. Absolutely. That's a great idea. JT Thompson just joined our Freedom Seekers Club. So that is a great way to support the channel, and you get special perks when you become a member of our Freedom Seekers Club. So thank you so much. All right. Veronica McFarland with the $10 super chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Lucia, the $10 super chat says, love all you ladies, KJ, Shelly, Nicole, and Tyrone. Good for Eric for defending ICE. My parents had to go through a lot to become citizens. We need ICE. I became a freedom seeker 4 months ago. Thank you, Lucia.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. And she's so right. And you know what? So I know a lot of legal immigrants. And let me tell you, they are upset. They get so upset seeing these illegals jump the line when they fought, when they saved, when they, put all this energy and time into coming here legally, which we love. And this is another thing that the left tries to paint a false narrative, how Republicans don't want immigration. We love legal immigrants.
Absolutely.
Okay. Exactly. And so in the same with legal immigrants, I have a friend who has a contracting business and he's Latino and he is a Trump supporter. And he says this all the time. He talks about how these illegals are coming here and they're not getting paid. They're taking, scraps to do work. And they're forcing him out of his job, his business, because he has a construction business. And so they're willing to take, a little bit of work, little bit of money or pay because they're illegal. And he was like, we got to get them out of here. We got to get them out.
They're undercutting, people who are working legitimate jobs, overwhelming the schools. And let's not even talk about the traffic. So you guys know I have one of my offices is in a heavily Hispanic area, right? And it's not, well, I shouldn't just say Hispanic, let's just say migrant area in Montgomery County, Maryland. It is not a day that goes by that somebody's not backing up a 4-lane highway or parked across the highway because they were trying to make some sort of U-turn and their car ran out of gas. It's always something with these people who are scared to death, quote unquote, scared to death to leave this particular sanctuary county, right? I get it. They're here illegally. They're scared to death to leave, especially in this environment that they maybe get holed up by ICE. But, sometimes you need to hit the reset button, go back home, get yourself together, apply to come here the right way. And then you won't feel frightened. You won't feel like, you're on the run and somebody's behind you all of the time. There's a way to do this and do it the proper way. I'm going to plead again with the U.S. government, send them all back. And people who are seeking asylum can do that from their home country via Skype, Zoom, the same way we had to do court cases during COVID. We can work that out. It would be much easier. And you won't see so many people who, quote unquote, are saying they're living in fear. We've given them every opportunity to go home. They have the CBP Home app on their phones now, the same app that they used to get into this country without being vetted with the Biden administration. They'll take you home for free and give you $1,000 for leaving, to start your life over again, which I think is more than generous. It shows the heart of the American people. But I really do need them to go. Let us recalculate what we're doing here first before you come back.
Right. And guess what? These Democrat policies hurt legal immigrants the most. Legal immigrants followed the rules. And now they have to watch as illegals get benefits, sanctuary, and protection. And it actually causes a resentment, a betrayal, and growing backlash. And that's what we're seeing. And guess what? They're pushing back at the ballot box. And I love it. I love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know for yourself, earlier this week on Tuesday, when I was in my other office on the Eastern Shore, I had a little incident with a woman who couldn't tell me what her name was. She had a bunch of names to choose from. I'm like, wait a minute. What does your passport from your home nation say?
Right.
And she had passport, a driver's license, and some other stuff, all of these names. And I just kind of lost it in that moment. I absolutely lost it in that moment because as an American citizen, I am who my parents said I was, unless I go to a courthouse and legally change my name. You don't get to have, well, I'm going to be, Marisol today and tomorrow I'm going to be, Susanna. No, ma'am, you are what that document says your name is. But it seems like this lawlessness is a way of life for them. And it is so infuriating. It absolutely makes me crazy. Absolutely makes me crazy.
And it really angers legal immigrants because they've lived it. They fled lawlessness and now they're watching it rise again. I was at an event in DC. Actually, Shelly and I went to an event in DC. Was it last week or this? I think it was last week. And there was a lady there. Was it like, it was a Russian immigrant there. And she, you guys may know her. She actually painted beautiful portraits for President Trump in the White House. He has it actually hanging in the White House. Forgot her. I forgot her name. But she was a really nice lady, and she was auctioning off the paintings at this event that I attended, and she was so on fire. We have a video, but we got to put it up. She was so on fire about this illegal immigration. Mm-hmm. And she was talking about how she is seeing here in the U.S. this Marxism and communism that she fled in Russia. She said she is now seeing it on the Democrat side here in the US. And she said she was so passionate. She was like, we must stop this right now, because if we don't, we are going to go the way of communist Russia. And she was so passionate about it. And we have video. We want to put it up on this YouTube page soon. But these are the ones, legal immigrants. They're the ones that see what's going on the left, and they are sounding the alarm about it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and so are we. Yep, so are we. So we want to see you guys in the chat are going off about this too. We love you guys. You are our patriots, our community that we are building here. Thank you all so much. Jerry Early with the $5 super chat says, thank you, ladies, watching from Los Angeles before going back to Big Island, Hawaii. How do you say it? Mahalo from Hawaii. Oh, nice. Mahalo. Thank you. Mahalo. Okay, thank you. Yep. Yeah, Dallas. I don't know if he's on here, but he's always on the chat, and he posted on Instagram some beautiful photos in Hawaii today. The water was so blue and he had black sand. Oh, I was drooling. I was like, oh man, that looks so nice. So I know you guys are enjoying Hawaai.
Enjoy it.
I know. I heard the fruit is so sweet and fresh. Oh, never mind. Anyway, Lisa just joined our Freedom Seekers Club. Thank you, Lisa. So much.
Thank you. Welcome to the family.
Welcome. Yes, indeed. All right. We will continue to call them out, the left, on this stuff, because we have a country to save. We have a country to save. All right.
We have to, because we know for a fact that Democrats will not. They will not lift a finger to save this great nation. So we have to. And it seems like, I think we've been saying for a very long time that this was going to be a Band-Aid moment. President Trump said that during the campaign. There's going to be some times where it's going to be a little bit tougher than others. And this is just the tough part. But, just like any other healing moment, it's going to hurt a little bit up front. But on the backside, man, won't it be nice to have communities where you don't have to worry about your child being snatched off the damn street? I mean, all of these things. Getting rid of illegal immigration means that our policing forces can actually do what they're supposed to be doing. It alleviates so much stress and strain across the nation. It's going to be so good once we get there.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of that, let's talk about this 250th anniversary parade on Saturday.
Yes.
Oh, so I know you plan on attending, Nicole. Are you excited about it?
I am thrilled about it. I cannot wait. My husband, God rest his soul, was Army. And if he were here, he would be down there too. So it's going to be beautiful, a wonderful celebration. It's also President Trump's birthday. So a bunch of the Republican organizations I belong to sent them birthday cards and like little gifts and stuff already. So it's going to be a great day for the United States and definitely for our Army.
Yes, indeed. So columns of tanks are arriving in D.C. ahead of this enormous planned military parade. Again, as you mentioned, to mark the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. So a mile-long line of tanks, some of the 150 military vehicles set to take part in Saturday's parade, according to the New York Post, arrived in the Capitol by freight train over the weekend. So it's supposed to be a day-long event along the National Mall to feature approximately 6,600 soldiers and 50 aircraft, according to the Army. This is going to be a major event.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so ahead of the big event, soldiers and equipment who will take part in the parade will be housed in a Department of Agricultural building and a warehouse owned by the General Service Administration. In addition to the parade, they're having fireworks, festivities, fitness competitions, military demonstrations, all kinds of activities. I wish I was there. I won't be able to attend, but looks like it's going to be really nice. But on the flip side, we have these planned protests. So not sure if you guys have been following it, but they have these planned No Kings protests that are supposed to be countering the parade. Now, they may not necessarily be in DC. Apparently, according to reports, they actually plan to be in Maryland, here where we are, and Virginia. What do you think about these No Kings protests?
I think it's a great idea. Let me tell you why. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's a great idea for political junkies like me. If I weren't downtown having a good time watching the fitness contest and USDA grade beef men fall from the sky with parachutes, because girl, yeah, that's going to be the thing. I would show up at these events and take pictures of all the prospective Democrat politicians who intend to run next cycle and have them explain to their constituents or prospective constituents what they were doing on Flag Day when the nation was celebrating our fighting force, the Army. What you were doing on Flag Day is you were cheering for illegal aliens in the United States. Make it make sense. Oh, and by the way, if you're an illegal alien, please show up. Go to all of the No Kings rallies. You're just going to make it easier for ICE to find you. It just seems like they're not thinking. And I mean, to our advantage, they're not thinking, but I need them to put some thought process on this. If you're an illegal person, this is not your weekend to be protesting your illegal status. No Kings has put up a map to tell people what time, what date, and where you're going to be. It's going to be easy for ICE to round you up. Just show up and just pick you up. I mean, it's just the level of dumbassery is like at least 99%, at least 99%. But if you're dumb enough to show up, you should go home.
Right. And speaking of dumb asses, looks like one of the Waltons is funding it, or at least partially funding it. So Christy Walton, some geriatric heiress to the Walmart fortune, who had a 2% stake in the company as of last year, has made it no secret of her liberal bent, and she's actually funding it. So she apparently took out some ad in, I believe it was the New York Post, a color ad, talking about this No Kings protest, and she's been funding these protests all over the country to push back at these No Kings protests. So demonstrations planned across the country for June 14th. She's funding it. So, and she's not the only one. We saw at the LA protest, they were given these what was it, headgear or something. We saw, yeah, right. People were bringing them in boxes. There's also reports that people were showing up, these Antifa and leftist protesters showing up at designated places, and there were piles of bricks and things waiting for them so they can cause all kind of destruction in these cities across the country. So this is organized. This isn't some grassroots initiative.
It's really interesting. When you go to the No Kings website and you scroll all the way to the bottom and it talks about who their sponsors are, the names that you see there, this seems to be like a hodgepodge of every kind of disgruntled group in the United States. Of course, the teachers' unions are there because, that's what we need from our teachers. The teachers' unions are there. There are a couple of other unions there, a bunch of the DNC's kind of minion organizations. But what was interesting is to see that some organizations say that, it's not for them about immigration, but it's about federal employees losing their jobs. And, liberals saying, well, this is just the liberal thing to do because I don't like the military. And, I don't want to celebrate Trump's birthday because they think it's a birthday parade, not for the U.S. Army that keeps us all safe, but for Donald Trump, who's having a heck of a party in Mar-a-Lago. But I digress. right? So it's important for everyone to understand that this is not some random happenstance. Let's just get together and protest. They are very organized, very well funded. They're having conference calls to talk about what to do when confronted by the police, how to get out of jail, what attorneys to call. So it is very well organized, and they have a ton of money to pull these things off. But I really hope that America pays more attention to celebrating people who keep us safe than the people who mean to do us harm.
Yeah, you're right. We have another super chat here. Let's see here. Dallas says David Hogg spits from DNC. Thoughts?
Split.
Oh, I didn't even hear that yet. Dallas, I was just talking about you. I saw your photos you posted from Hawaii with that black sand and that blue water.
KJ, wish she was there. She wished she was there.
Yes, I did. I wish I was there.
So jelly.
I know, so jealous. But anyway, I didn't know that. I gotta look into that. Wow. So he split from the DNC. Well, I know the establishment Democrats were upset with him because he was saying he was going to fundraise to get many of these older established Democrats out of office. And they were not happy about it. So he probably did split. They were trying to remove him from his seat. Did they ever remove him? Do you know, Nicole?
I don't think they've had the vote yet, but the DNC had the votes to remove him. Absolutely, to remove him. And you knew that was coming, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, getting back to this the military parade, the White House Secretary Caroline Leavitt took a question today in regards to that.
It's so good. It is so good. Caroline is so good.
Yeah, it was really good. And so let me see here. I know I have it here somewhere. She really pissed off this reporter with her comment here. And I liked that what she said. Honestly, I did. All right. So we have
the First Amendment. He supports the right of Americans to make their voices heard. He does not support violence of any kind. He does not support assaulting law enforcement officers who are simply trying to do their job. It's very clear for the president what he supports and what he does not. Unfortunately for Democrats, that line has not been made clear, and they've allowed this unrest and this violence to continue, and the president has had to step in.
So if there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the military parade, President Trump would allow that?
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
Did you see her face? She was like,
but the toss of the hair is what had me. I was like, girl, really?
It was a stupid question. No one on the right, not President Trump, has been upset about general protests. We're not upset about protests. We're upset about looting, rioting, and violence. Duh.
What was so funny about that question was you're really asking a man who spent the last 4 years being viciously attacked using lawfare, if he's going to stand up on the Constitution. Absolutely. You have a divine right to get out and protest. There's a meme, I should have saved it so everybody could see it, where there's a little girl at a protest with her mother, and mother ought to have her butt kicked for that. But a small child, maybe 4 or 5, and she sees the police officer, breaks out in tears. I mean, like, she's boo-hooing, and she's like, oh, you're going to shoot me, the 5-year-old. And the cop gets down on his knees. He's like, no, honey, I'm not going to shoot you. You go right ahead, and you can protest and wave your little sign, but just don't hurt anybody else or break anything. Oh. You have the right to do that, honey. And her mother's standing there with like an N95 mask on, looking like, a Democrat poster child. I'm thinking to myself, we're going to lose a generation. And I got to be okay with that. I'm going to have to just write them off of my mind and just let what happens to them happen to them. But there are some people, one, who should not be parents. Let's do that. They don't have the sense God gave a goose. And 2, as a community, we have to intervene. Like that cop took the time to talk to this child. Like Caroline took some time to talk to this reporter. Why would you ask this man who had to wrap himself in the Constitution to protect himself if he's going to stand up on it? Foolish.
Absolutely. It is. And you brought up a very good point, Nicole. People people, TDS is real. It is so real. And it has infected extensively Black women. You know, I don't know how we managed to not catch it. And everyone in the chat, we love you. If the Black women in the chat that don't have, but I mean, I can tell you this from just, we're in leftist Maryland, and I know family and friends. TDS has, these women are nuts. They are lost all sense. And as you mentioned, they are now infecting a younger generation, creating fear and abnormal amounts of anxiety about things that they shouldn't even be scared about.
Exactly.
It's really embarrassing. It has gotten embarrassing. Because it has no basis in fact, no basis in, and they have just gone with it. They think the police are going to kill them every time they turn a corner. They act out in every situation. Everything is based on race. You can't tell them otherwise. If they get any type of pushback about anything, they somehow will make it about race or that they're a woman.
Absolutely.
It's really sad. It really is.
They learned to spin from some spin masters, because you see this all the time. It's like, it's hard enough to be a human being, but when you start breaking yourself into all these little pieces, a Black woman, a married woman, a single woman, a Republican woman, it's just too much. How about we focus on just being good Americans, right?
Exactly.
Raise our children to love God, love the country, work hard, achieve things in their life. But they don't want that. That's not what they want. They want to strike a blow for some perceived wrong somewhere in their lives. It's hard for me to rationalize that when you see their children looking at them like there's something wrong with her. You know what I mean? Like the kids are waking up before the parents are, and they're like,
I hope so.
Absolutely wrong. There's something absolutely wrong with these people. And the truth be told, and you're right, KJ, it's us. It's absolutely us. I think they fell in love with the lights and the fame of being, the Democrat Party's favorite person. I want to see what it's going to be like when they realize they're just like everybody else.
Yeah, it's sad because, like you mentioned, they are leading these children down the same road, and I actually see it. They are creating young people that are so off the reservation. They are so far away from reality, and especially these young girls. They are listening to these neurotic women. Now the young girls are becoming neurotic. I feel sorry for these young guys. I feel sorry for young men these days because the women have lost all sense of reality. It's really sad. And speaking of that, we move to this next clip here. This is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at a hearing today, and a Democrat, Linda Sanchez, launches into a disgusting smear against them. Take a look. This is clip 4.
But please don't interrupt me during my time.
With pleasure.
Okay, I know I'm a woman, but please try to limit yourself to answering my questions. No, I'm sorry, but we get talked over all the time, and I don't want that to happen at this hearing.
I would remind members, the gentlelady is recognized. Please proceed.
Thank you. The time is mine.
Okay, so just to give you guys some backstory, Representative what was
Sanchez.
Sanchez. She's talking about a situation. She was spouting off lies in that she was falsely claiming prices were rising, even though key goods, especially groceries have dropped significantly. And she was continuing to spout out all of these lies. And Scott Bessent was fact checking her. So he was calmly correcting her with the facts. And that's what triggered her meltdown that we saw.
Well, she was given her version of the Kamala, I'm talking. And it was so poorly received by the people who were there to actually hear what Bessent had to say. Do you know what I mean? It gets to the point where they think every hearing is a TikTok moment. Right? They're all shooting their shot for 30 seconds of something that's going to help them secure their seat. Byron Donalds, a representative from Florida, had a really viral moment maybe 3 weeks ago when he talked about how afraid Congress people actually are that they're going to lose their seats. They're petrified that they're going to lose their seats. But can I tell you, the seat does not belong to you. The seat belongs to the people. I'm not big on term limits because that creates an administrative nightmare. But I do believe that at some point, the electorate should take a look and say, 3 terms is enough. Come on and have a seat, and let's let somebody else, run for the seat, or some fresh ideas or something new. But that moment should not have been viral. It should be easily understood that the seat does not belong to the politician who sits in it. It belongs to the people. And she did everybody in America a disservice by her little gotcha moment of, I'm a woman talking, right? That's crazy. Absolutely.
Oh, but this is what they do, though. These leftists, when they are cornered, they pivot to victimhood. It's race, gender, sexuality, anything they can find but the facts. And this strategy undermines real conversations and insults actual cases of discrimination. It really does. But we see this time and time again. This is what they do. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. Josh,
thank you.
With the $5 super chat says, hey, everyone, smash that like button and share these episodes with your friends. I really believe our Pop and Politics fam is ascended. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Yes. And please, folks, like, share, and subscribe. As you guys come in here, please hit that like button. It helps to get this video out to as many people as possible. Share it in a DM. Send it on, share it on your timeline on social media. We want to get the truth out. All right. CJ Parks with the $10 super chat says, I hope President Trump has his robot dogs on duty at Mar-a-Lago on his birthday. Wow. Is that a real thing? Robot dogs? Oh,
you asking me, KJ?
Yeah.
I don't even have a regular dog, let alone a robot dog.
Lily's with a $5 super chat says, I waited 10 years for my green card to come to the USA legally. I am Filipino American and very grateful for this country. And we're grateful to have you, Lily.
Absolutely, Lily. You're exactly the type of person that we want to migrate to the United States. I don't know about you guys, and this is going off down a rabbit hole, but it burns my biscuits. It burns my biscuits if people have been here 20 years and can't speak the language. They don't care to speak the language. It makes me absolutely insane. You wanted to be here in this nation and you moved heaven and earth to get here. The least you can do is try to assimilate. Yes, keep some of your culture, but I need you to at least at a minimum speak the language. At a minimum.
Yeah. We are getting reports that Israel informed the U.S. that they are ready to strike Iran. Iraqi airspace is being jammed by Iran currently, as well as Iraqi airspace is open to, Israeli airspace is being jammed by Iran currently, as well as Iraqi airspace is open to IAF. I don't know what that means. Let me see here. We have video of President Trump being asked by reporters. Let me see if we can get this up for you guys. Why are U.S. dependents of military personnel being evacuated from the Middle East? Production, are you able to get that video up? Oh my. Okay, here we are.
Why are U.S. dependents being authorized to leave the Middle East? Say it. Why are U.S. dependents of military personnel being authorized to leave the Middle East? I'll have to say thank you.
All right, there you have it. Something is brewing, folks. Something is brewing. Nicole, what are your thoughts there?
We could kind of feel it in the air. You guys know Gimpy from Just the Guys. He's also a producer on the show and a very good friend of mine. Something has been cooking for a very long time. And my prayers are with the people of Israel. So few deaths as we can have, but defending their nation is important to them, and it should be important to the rest of the world as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah, something's going on, folks. So I hope we are not brought into some terrible war with the Middle East, but it looks like something's going on. There's some type of maybe military initiative going on. So we will keep you all posted on that.
I don't think the U.S. will get dragged into it because Israel definitely has what she needs to defend herself. I think, at some point, these international people who keep saying that, Israel has to hold its fire, they're surrounded by people who mean them harm. And Iran has always been a bad actor. So this is probably a continuation of racial hatred is the best way to say it, religious hatred. Like I said, this is not a war about land or mass or any of this. This is a holy war. And as long as they have two separate gods, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah. Yep. So we will continue to keep you guys updated as the news reports come in. All right. So continuing on, folks, like I said, continue to, for you all who are faith believers, please keep our country, keep Israel, keep us all in prayers, our military, everyone in prayer. All right. So getting back on track here, we were talking about these leftists and what they were doing as far as Scott Bessent's hearing. So again, we have, as Democrat Linda Sanchez, let me speak, let women speak, this crap that she does. But when we look at these female Democrats, these elected officials in these hearings, they're always speaking.
Right.
Shut up. Yeah. They are putting on wild spectacles all over the place. And so here it is. We put together this video for you guys just to show you what happens when leftist Democrat Congress people speak. This is clip 5.
We will not take this. We will fight back. Fight back. And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and goddamn it, shut down the Senate.
Green for 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Who's?
It's me.
Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
part
I'm
of
trying to find clarification on what qualifies.
Chairman, motion to strike those words.
I had no idea what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys.
Warriors today, the hypocrisy is obvious to the American people. You are showing who you all are, really.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Omar will not be silenced.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Congressman Omar, I am so
time has
sorry,
expired.
That our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong
The gentlewoman is no longer recognized, and the gentleman.
Okay, these people are unhinged. They're unhinged.
They're so emotional. They can't see the forest for the trees. So emotional. And no one is taking a moment to say, maybe if we stop yelling at the top or screeching like banshees, people would actually, listen to us. You don't have to put the microphone in your mouth to make your point. And you're talking about shut down the city. Girl, it's your city. Why would you want to shut down your own city? Why? That's when the emotion is just so good. You can't stop and think. But as a woman who's a legislator, yes, we lead differently. Yes, the way we process information is different, but the way that we communicate with our constituency should be the same. They should be able to understand what we're saying clearly.
Exactly. And they shouldn't be under indictment. So that one at the top, that was LaMonica McIver. She's actually facing 3 federal charges and up to 17 years in prison after allegedly verbally abusing and physically assaulting ICE agents at Newark Detention Center. We brought you guys this story. So according to the indictment, this was actually just handed down recently. McIver not only interfered with federal law enforcement, but threatened to destroy the careers of ICE officers. And it was all caught on body cam footage.
So good. So good. So good.
I know.
Bumping him with her belly, like boom, boom. Like, what is she doing?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. She's so brolic and just nasty. I mean, these people are so. Why are these voted in? Who votes for these people? That's what I want to know.
So that's my whole point. You just hit the nail right on the head, KJ. Who votes for these people? Because they don't run usually presidential cycle. They're off cycle, like the gubernatorial cycle. You know who votes for other women like them? Because people stay home. People stay home. They're like, I voted for a president. I'm not showing up for any more elections. And then this is what you get when you stay home. Vote. Vote like your life depends on it. Vote like your children's lives depend on it. The future of this nation depends on it, or you'll have more Miss McIvers out here throwing her belly on ICE agents like she's supposed to, right?
Yeah, but one setback to this is the case has landed in the lap of Judge Jamel Semper, who is a Biden appointee. So it raises serious questions about impartiality. Will this be a real trial or a political slap on the wrist? We'll have to wait and see on that. So yeah. But moving right along. I mean, again, these women, on the left, always complaining, always, playing the victim. And in actuality, it's generally the other way around. They are generally the aggressors. They are the ones over talking, their opponents. And we have another clip here of Karen Bass. Now, this was a couple of years ago. She was happily actually on a panel with none other than Jesse Lee Peterson. And look at this.
Good money I would have paid to be in there. My goodness.
There is a reason for blacks and Hispanics committing crimes.
We need to figure out how we're going to do this now, okay?
And the reason is...
We need to figure out how we're going to do this now.
I'm speaking.
I know, but I think...
But you can't speak over me. You need to hold on.
Yeah, but... I mean,
hold on.
Hold on.
Okay? You can't be rude to me. Thank you.
Very quick. Now we get the congressman.
Right. I can't believe
it's not just me.
I want to say that there is a deeper cause for this. I do want to first say that there is no such thing as racism. Racism has never existed. It's a lie. It's a lie that's being used. It's a lie that's being used to divide and conquer, to keep black people angry at white folks, and to keep white people afraid to speak up. The battle is black Americans, not all, are suffering due to the destruction of the family and the lack of moral character. If they had fathers and mothers together, loving them and guiding them in the right way to go, they would not, you wouldn't see the type of crime.
So no plus plan never existed.
Let the congresswoman get in.
All right. So, I mean, he let her have it. What are your thoughts on that exchange, Nicole?
I would have been in the back sipping from my Poppin' Politics cup, like, You knew he was going to show out. You knew he was going to show out. You know you don't give that man a microphone and some time. He was going to cut up. He was going to cut up. And listen, it shows you there her lack of leadership. Mm-hmm. So, the way that women conduct themselves in a meeting, the way that women conduct themselves at a forum, when you have true leadership skill, you don't have to interrupt him while he makes his point. Let him have his moment in the sun, and then you chop him up and leave him lying, bloody on the floor when it's your turn. But you do play by the rules. For this is indicative of them saying, we don't have to play by the rules. We're Black women. We don't have those rules to follow.
Yeah. And I like, I do believe that racism is real. It's not just white people. It's anyone can be racist. I do believe that. And so I agreed with him there. And I also agreed with him when he talked about how in our community, particularly the Black community, we do have a degradation, a destruction of the family, and it has caused a lack of moral character within our community. And we see it all the time. Just within, and we used to blame it on economic status, but that was never the case. I remember as a young child, my grandparents, they were not of, people of means, of wealth, but they really value clean living, clean house, clean yard. They took care of their neighborhoods. And now when you go to these same communities that have been passed down to the younger generations, they're dilapidated, they're dirty, trash is thrown all over the place. And it's a show that they don't have they don't take value in their community.
Right. I always say this, when you're driving through a neighborhood, you can always tell people who inherited their land and people who work hard to buy it. Right. You can tell by the way that Saturday morning or Sunday after church, somebody's out there behind that push mower or riding that John Deere, getting that lawn together and doing yard work. I think there's a part of Black America. I can't speak on other parts of America, but Black America, when we were lucky enough to be handed something, we didn't see how much work it took to get it. Right. So it's just like, oh, grandma left me a house. It's just a house. But if you had to get out there and scrimp and save every penny and pinch to get it, it does change the value for you.
Right. Exactly. I 100% agree. And we have to do something to change this, or we can shout racism. We can shout, misogyny. We can shout, the economics and how, the white man's foot is on our back and we can't make any. We can continue to shout that till the day is long. But until we tackle our breakdown in our families, until we tackle the lack of value of hard work, that our communities will continue to suffer. They will continue to suffer. The lack of spiritual leadership and discipleship, all of that goes into why our communities are plagued with failure. And we got to tackle it. We do. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have this degeneracy.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Agreed.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of that takes us to our next topic, which is squatters. So Baltimore is spiraling, and Mayor Brandon Scott is calling it propaganda. So while homeowners and developers are begging for help as their properties are overrun by squatters recruited through social media scams, Mayor Scott shrugs off the crisis as business as usual. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 8.
Investigates how squatting may be costing people millions of dollars in legal fees and damages.
One social media account claiming to connect individuals to last resort of squatter homes for a one-time fee ranging from $800 to $7,500 showcased our reporting this weekend, saying a little birdie told me she's still in the house, to probably the best dollars she ever spent.
She does this for a certain fee, and she'll move you into somebody's property that's not yours, which is about my case.
The social media account was referring to this woman who was included in our reporting at the beginning of our investigation over a month ago. The property management company says that she's still in the Baltimore home, refusing to leave, costing his organization thousands.
Are you concerned that now you're in a situation where probably in the foreseeable future, you guys are going to have to find another place to live after spending thousands?
Well, I know that's what's going to happen, but God has always got my back. And when you don't do things to people, your blessings will come.
Our team is currently being flooded with instances of alleged squatting across Maryland. At the same time, social media accounts that we are tracking that are connecting individuals to properties are showing no signs of stopping. We also won't be stopping our investigation anytime soon.
This is insane. So I just want to make sure our viewers understand what's going on here. there is some online company, a company online that pushes out notices on social media. And they're letting people know that they have a home. They're Instagram squatter brokers. They know that this is a squatter home. They know that this home is not, is not legally theirs. And they put it out in this notice. And then people still will pay to live in these homes and be squatters.
So,
right, Nicole?
Right. So the act of squatting is moving into a vacant property and living there, where it's not your property. You're not a tenant. You don't have a lease. You're not paying any rent. And it's not only one company, there's a bunch of companies and some people, right, who have a listing of homes that are vacant and have been vacant maybe for a little while, and they sell you the address to that home. Now, they get off scot-free because all they're doing is taking a seller and a buyer and putting them together. Right now, that's not illegal in the state of Maryland, right? But eventually it's going to be illegal in the state of Maryland to send someone to go squat on somebody else's property if the next legislative session works pretty well. But at any rate, these people who are saying, KJ, I know you in between apartments right now. My friend Shelly, she got a couple of houses, some houses she's not using. You give me $800, I'll give you the address. She don't never go by there. Just go over there and live and just till you get on your feet. You give me $800. I give you Shelly's other house address. You go over there, you unpack your stuff and you live there. You live there until Shelly finds out that you live there. And then the police come and say, oh, especially here in Maryland, she's been living here less than 20 years because 20 years makes it a fair fight. If you let someone live in your home without any kind of contract for 20 years, you're going to have to fight them for it. But here in Maryland, you have to get them evicted. You can't go in there and just grab them and toss them out. You have to get them evicted. So there's a process for that. You have to file the writ of detainer, jump through the hoops and this, that, and the third. When you finally get them out, you can rest assured your property has been absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. And that is what squatting is.
These people have no shame. None. This is what we're talking about. This is what we were just talking about. How the moral decay in these communities is just unbelievable. She knows the home isn't hers. She didn't pay for it. She has no lease, no ownership, no right to be there. Yet instead of leaving, she doubles down because today's culture rewards lawlessness and punishes property owners. And like you said, Nicole, there's video of these property owners once they find out about this, because there was one case that they featured where the man had just put the home on the market. He had just sold the home and he was going back to get it, I guess, get it ready to go. And he found these squatters there. Yep. So he gets them out, tells them they have to leave, and they totally trash the place.
Yes. It happens all the time. And it's unfortunate, when you think about people, again, who work so hard to save up their money, and maybe that was their first home and they kind of moved up like George and Wheezy, and now they're going to rent this one out as soon as they get it fixed up. And sometimes you have to wait for a contractor to come by. Maybe there's 3, 4, 5, 8 weeks. You got to wait for something. And someone decides that they're going to live in that house. Now, there's no water, there's no electricity, but they're going to live in that spot. So you can only imagine the damage. You can only imagine the damage that goes on. Squatting is a problem around the country, especially in places where there's a housing shortage. And so the law always kind of, landlords get the short end of the stick when it comes to the law, because by right, someone's in your house, you should be able to go in there and straighten that situation out fairly quickly. But here in Maryland, you have to use a legal route. You have to, do the writ of terrible out of the house, then come back with the sheriff. Because in that instance, there's a significant difference between the police and the sheriff, right? You get the sheriff's department to come out, and the sheriff's department will serve them the notice of eviction and tell them they have to be gone by a certain time. But even still, they still have time to absolutely destroy your property.
This is terrible. It's this squatting is theft. It's stealing someone's home and acting like you're owed something. And that's the thing I don't understand. these people have no shame. And
None.
Growing up, I grew up in a single parent household. My mom was a single mom with 3 kids. I'm the oldest of 4. I'm the oldest of 4. And, there were times when we didn't know if we were going to be able to stay in the places we lived, but she made way. She worked 2-3 jobs, it would get close where, sometimes I remember where we thought we were being, put out, evicted, but somehow she, got that money together and kept us in, our apartment or our townhome or whatever.
Sure.
We moved a lot. We did move around a lot, but I mean, she kept us in clean homes, good homes, great education, areas with good public schools and things like that. She would never do something like this. No, first of all, I would be nervous. Like you never know when this person is coming.
Right.
You don't know. You're not on solid ground. So the actual gall to do something like this, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
I'm going to quote Logic from Just the Guys. Bring back shame.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back shame in a big way. Because when you don't believe in anything greater than yourself, you'll do anything. Someone in the comments said it earlier, in the chat said it earlier. How is she quoting, God's going to bless her when she's out here stealing from somebody? God, she don't know anything about how God works. It's important that we raise our children to believe in something greater than themselves, and that they are. My dad used to take us to the ocean, here in Maryland, down to Ocean City, so we could feel small. Because when you're 2 parents and you got 6 kids, sometimes it seems like the children are kind of running the asylum.
Right.
He wanted us to feel like we are small things in a very big world. And what you see now is parents wanting their children to feel like, they're the second coming of Christ and everybody else is their footstool. It is a complete opposite of, I think, we were a far better generation in that we kind of understood that our part in this country, in our communities, was a small part. We weren't the big dog, but they needed us to get things done. Now everybody wants to be a superstar. Everybody's got to be Beyonce. There's no Kelly Rowlands left. I don't know what happened.
Well, and to me, it's sort of like this whole idea of these tenants' rights and how private property is theft. It sort of reminds me of a Marxist idea. Today's radical tenant movement echoes this kind of belief where they want to strip landlords of their rights while giving these renters unlimited power to occupy, delay, and even refuse to pay. And then these people, they had no, this is almost like the Wild Wild West kind of, right? You watch movies like, what was it? That movie on, if you've been watching that Wild Wild West movie on Peacock, I think it's Peacock or Paramount, 1880 or 1870, something like that.
1836. I watched that. That's a precursor to Yellowstone.
Yes, Yellowstone, right. And so the old ones, it was like wherever you plant your stake, that's your property, and you guard it with your life, and this is sort of like they're trying to take us back to this time. But in actuality, someone has already planted their stake, which is the landlord. And they're actually, it seems like the laws are backing up these tenants who are stealing the properties.
They're not even tenants. These are just randos off the street. That's if this was landlord tenant, then it's like, okay, you didn't pay your rent, you want to stay, you try to work it out, whatever. But these are just randos. The property owners have no idea who these people are. Can you imagine coming home to your house that you've been paying on for 30 years?
Wow.
30 years. And there's a whole other family living in it with no water, with no electric, just tearing your stuff apart. Are you serious?
I would lose it.
I just want to know what the penalty is going to be when I throw them all out. Because whatever that is, I'm going to pay it. I'm going to do, the 30 days in jail, whatever it's going to take. But there's going to be some blows thrown. There's no way. But in certain states, they've made it hard for property owners to control the property that they own. And that is ridiculous to me. That's absolutely, you should be able to call the sheriff and be like, hey, there's some dude living in my house, and the sheriff come over and boot him out right then. It shouldn't take 3, 4, 5 months going through a court process. It's ridiculous.
Oh, well, the end goal is state control of housing. So these tenant activists often push for community land trusts, rent freezes, and government-run housing. And the translation is end private ownership. Create a system where the state becomes your landlord. That's what it's all about. So the so-called tenants' rights agenda isn't about helping poor people. It's about reshaping society through collectivist control. And we see it all the time here in places like Baltimore City, Philly, all over the place. And we got to call it out. We got to call it out.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I want to get to this final topic. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but Rand Paul is pissed at Trump, folks. It's getting spicy in the GOP ranks. Take a look. This is clip 9.
From my office, and it's kind of a great time of the year in the summer. My family comes up. My son and daughter-in-law and grandson are coming up because we were going to the White House picnic, but I've just been told that I've been uninvited from the picnic. I think I'm the first senator in the history of the United States to be uninvited to the White House picnic. The White House is owned by the taxpayers. We all are members of it. Every Democrat will be invited. Every Republican will be invited, but I will be the only one disallowed to come on the grounds of the White House. I just find this incredibly petty. I mean, I have been, I think, nothing but polite to the president. I have been a intellectual opponent, a public policy opponent, and he's chosen now to uninvite me from the picnic and to say my grandson can't come to the picnic. I just the level of immaturity is beyond words. I've been here long enough that if anybody has ever followed me, I've been a critic of Obama, I've been a critic of Biden, I've been a critic of the previous Trump, but always in I think, a reasonable fashion along policy. And so they've decided they want to declare war on my family and exclude us from the White House. And I just think it's incredibly petty, and I hope someone will ask them some questions about how they've decided to sink to this step.
What was the explanation given to you?
No explanation. We're just not welcome. But you have to get a ticket, and we've always gotten tickets. I mean, I've been to 10 White House picnics. There's like Easter egg rolls, there's picnics. This is for Congress. And I think what's particularly galling about it is, I don't know if this came from the president on down, let's hope not, but if not, it's coming from his petty staffers who have been running a sort of a paid influencer campaign against me for 2 weeks on Twitter. If you look at my Twitter, it's just gobs and gobs of these people. We know they're being paid because the White House, someone has told us that the White House called them from the White House and offered them money to attack me online. So we have that, and now we're uninvited to the picnic. And it's like, I don't know, it's just incredibly petty, and it shows that, look, I'm arguing from a true belief and worry that our country is mired in debt and getting worse, and they choose to react by uninviting my grandson to the picnic. I don't know, I just think it really makes me lose a lot of respect I once had for Donald Trump.
You were already a no.
I don't know why I thought this was so funny.
It's funny.
He kept saying they uninvited me to the picnic.
Well,
I can't go to the picnic. They uninvited me to the picnic.
From their perspective, everybody likes going to the White House. Let's just say that it's an honor, it's a privilege, but he too is being fairly petty and immature, right? I'm going to say this publicly. He's my guy. I love me some Dr. Paul. He's my dude. This is a good book. It came out about the scamdemic. It's a little lengthy, but he's so wrong here. There's no saving Rand from this. He's just absolutely wrong. If you were disinvited from the White House or you didn't get invited, it's not like somebody ran over and snatched a ticket out of his hand, but he didn't get invited. It could have been an oversight, probably not, but the staffers are probably pretty mad at him because he's not even trying to come to the table with the big, beautiful bill. And that's the way politics works. Sometimes, Rand, you just don't get an invite, and you got to be okay with that. You've been there, as you said, for 10 years. What else do you want now? How many Easter eggs do you need? Right? They give you these little wooden Easter eggs, every Easter egg roll at the White House. How many do you need? Your grandson is 6 months old. He's not going to remember getting snubbed. Not going to remember that.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, and folks, that was like a 5-minute clip. We only played a snippet. He sat there and whined and boo-hooed about about being disinvited to the picnic.
Okay. Is he did that for several news stations. He's all over social media boo-hooing about it. And again,
somebody give him a hot dog.
That's what I was
somebody give him a hamburger.
Give him a couple of ribs and have a seat, sir. Have a seat. Again, I think he's right that the big beautiful bill could do more to rein in spending, but it's just not doing it right now. There are other things we need to get done first. He feels some kind of way. He used some colorful language earlier on in the week, calling it wimpy and anemic. There are some people you can get away with saying stuff like that too, but Donald Trump ain't one of them. He's a New Yorker, right? Yeah. You tell a New Yorker he's anemic and wimpy, you ain't coming to my cookout. You can't come.
I mean, this man is a doctor. If he wants a picnic, he could bring he's acting like, oh, my grandson's been disinvited to the picnic. He won't get a burger and he won't get that charred hot dog.
He's 6 months old. His grandson's 6 months. He's not even no charred hot dog. This is just, I think.
I get it, though. I mean, I get it. Paul, he says he supports the tax reforms in the bill, but not the debt hike. He wants the provision removed and voted on separately, something that Trump, and his administration apparently isn't willing to do. We know how President Trump is. Everybody knows this. So you didn't know you were going to get disinvited from the picnic.
It's just sad. It is really, really, really sad. It's if I were disinvited, as the word he's using, disinvited, I would not be all over social media crying about how I was disinvited. I would not. I would have taken my L and would have made a call to the president, said, can we sit down and talk about it and try to work it out? But what he's doing is poking the bear.
Oh, yeah.
Poking the bear at a time when Iran and Israel are warming up and we've got planned protests all over the country and there's fires and riots in LA. Then the military, the army is here in DC. There's so much going on and the world's supposed to stop because you can't come to the White House to have a hot dog and a beer with the president.
Right. And not only that, but let's really break it down. If Rand Paul is such a fierce watchdog on government spending, then why is he so upset about missing a White House picnic, which is funded by taxpayers, is it not?
Absolutely.
You can't rail against big government waste and then get salty about not being invited to one of its fluffiest, most ceremonial expenses. So to me, if he's truly about limited government and and things like that, he should applaud being excluded from a taxpayer-funded picnic. Again, it's not punishment, it's consistency. If I was Trump, I would come out and say, look, he's got a problem with big government. He's got a problem with all this spending. I'm saving money from his tickets. I mean, I don't know. It's just like, oh my gosh.
It's like subtract one hot dog. No hot dog for you. No, it is really petty in a time when the country has so many very serious things going on. And his point that all the Democrats have been invited, all the Republicans have been invited, and I don't get invited. You know what? That's not a moment for you to run to your socials. It's a moment for you to pick up your cell phone and you call the president and you say, sir, can we sit down and work it out? And of course, this may have been the Trump team trying to leverage him into getting closer to a yes vote. But now, since he's chosen petty against the king of petty, it's not going to end well.
And let me say this. So for about almost a year, I had decided to become vegetarian. So I'd stopped eating meat, all meat, no pork, nothing like that. I was vegetarian for almost a year. Summer came around and I was at my dad's house and he was cooking. He had hot dogs, hamburgers on the grill. And when I smelled those hot dogs, and I like the burnt ones, and I couldn't stop. And that's what brought me out of my vegetarianism. A hot dog. And when I tell people that, they were like, "Oh my gosh, you almost went a whole year without eating meat, and what brought you from your vegetarian is a hot dog." I was like, yes. It was summertime. It was hot. I was there, and I'm all American, folks. I love a good Charles hot dog, and that's what took me out of my vegetarianism. So I get it. Maybe that's what it is. You know, he's missing his White House picnic, you know, and he knows he likes these White House hot dogs. He probably got the big thick ones, and that's still take him.
They're probably kosher hot dogs, but you know, he goes to heritage parties and you know, all of the muckety muck parties, you know, so it's important that he kind of sit back and rethink, not lead with emotion. Right. Sit back and rethink your play, because this is the wrong move. Absolutely the wrong move.
Absolutely. Folks, we got breaking news again. So Tulsi Gabbard is warning of a nuclear holocaust. That's what she's quoted as saying in a chilling 3-minute plea. Tulsi is sounding the alarm. We are closer to the brink of annihilation than ever, she warned in an ominous video posted to her social media. This wasn't politics. It was raw, urgent plea to stop what she says could be the end of humanity. Fresh from a visit to Hiroshima, Gabbard described in haunting detail how a single bomb could vaporize entire cities, poison the plant, and trigger a nuclear winter that starves billions. So she says, meanwhile, the U.S. is preparing to evacuate its embassy in Iraq amid rising threats. And President Trump says Iran is refusing to back down on its nuclear ambitions. Tulsi's message couldn't be clearer. This path ends in extinction. So something's going on, folks. We're getting reports out of breaking. The U.S. Department of State has issued a level 4 do not travel alert to Iraq due to high risk tensions and life-threatening risk. So again, we just want to keep you guys informed and updated on this. Yeah, something's coming up. Something's going on. So
listen, when Trump said that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, I'm talking about Trump 1.0. Said that this is a bad idea. Can't do it. You know, I hate that some Democrat leaders don't love this nation enough to stand up for it. You know, when you think of Barack Obama dropping pallets of cash into that nation to try to buy their friendship, to try to buy their compliance, some people only understand the rod. You can't get them with the stick. Sometimes they only understand the rod. Decades of diplomacy. There are just some people we can't trust with the annihilation of the rest of the world. So this is very serious. It's very grave. We should all be very prayerful. But, you know, maybe, just maybe, this will be what the world needs to hear to bring Iraq and Iran to heal.
Yeah.
To heal.
Yes, indeed. All right, folks. Well, that does it for us tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. So we are taking some time off. We will be back on Monday night at our normal 9 p.m. live. Now I'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be on Christian Conservative at KJ Christian Conservative. You can find me at 9 p.m. on there. We're talking about the latest from a biblical perspective. And then there's Just the Guys podcast. They are going to be on at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. So they should be breaking down the parade and everything that goes on. They're going to be breaking all of that down at Just the Guys podcast here on YouTube, 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. They're going to be right. You know, they're probably going to be bringing you all the latest of what happened at the parade. So definitely check them out, folks. It's going to be a great broadcast. And then Yes, indeed. Lots to talk about. And then we will be back on Monday night at 9 p.m. You don't want to miss that. So thank you all for your super chats. Talking in the chat. I see the chat was going off tonight. And so we thank you guys so much. Tons of super chats here. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all of you. We got Wendy says people need to get right with Jesus. Wendy, you know.
Amen.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Kung Fu CJ says the Bible says God will protect Israel as he has done since their return to the land. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat. Yes. Carla with the $5 super chat says we need to pray. Enjoy this platform always. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you so much, Carla.
Kung Fu CJ says there is a way and I can explain it. All right.
All right now.
Yes, indeed. Decently and in order. Woo. $5 super chat says it's outrageous. It will go down as Easter Bunny Gate. I know. Grown man crying over a hot dog. Dallas says, guess Rand Paul isn't going to get that mac salad. I know. Well, we got to give him a break, though. Rand Paul, he's a true patriot, and he's just trying to keep us in order, keep the spending down. We just make, having a little fun with him there. All right, folks, we will be back on Monday night. Until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.